So
Everyone just say hello
Panel
at
of
exactly
39.
the same time.
3, 2, 1.
Hello.
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 Okay, that's a good way to start.
User joined your
hello.
channel.
There we
Good
go.
job, Ruben.
Good job.
Okay, so I don't think anyone else is going to join, so I may as well introduce this thing. Because that's what I'm going to do
Why
today.
the hell has George got a horse? What the
Because I'm better.
Because he's donated.
Because this. Yeah. I was
Okay.
gonna say something else, but god damn it.
User joined your channel.
I
Oh
don't
my
want to know what
God.
you're going to say, Ruben. Okay.
Everybody's just... Okay.
User
No.
joined your channel.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful.
Then...
Right,
Okay, these
so,
TS
for those
sounds
of
are
you that didn't
pretty
hear the ground
annoying,
rules,
yes.
basically there are bounders here. If you interrupt people or act like a idiot, you're gonna get dealt with. Please don't do that. We can't change the talking permissions, so you guys have got to show respect, otherwise we're going to force it upon you. And if you get lost, you can call Sugar Koala or any of the other staff, apart from Jord, and they will hopefully bring you to where we are.
Okay, this should be good.
Okay, so I'm gonna basically throw this one over to Fornad, as Fornad wants to discuss this lovely bridge that we are joined on today.
This is a very interesting bridge. It's called the Last Bridge, and it's on the river Nithafel or Horwell in Common Tongue. Either it was built by the dwarves when they first created the Great East Road, which would make it very old.
User left your channel.
Pre-First Age kind of age, or it was remade by the Númenóreans when they wanted to join the kingdoms of Cardolan and Rudar. This comes into the Lord of the Rings when Aragorn and the hobbits reach the western side of it and find that there's a green beryl, sort of jewel, in the centre of the bridge, which marks. Well, it was left there by Glorfindel, an elf from Rivendell, to show them the path was safe because they were being chased by the Nazgûl all the time. And that's pretty much
User
everything.
disconnected from your channel.
Back to Lizzie to take us through the troll shows.
I'm so
So if you
confused.
guys
I
wanna
muted
kind of follow this way
everything,
to
but
the
I don't
side
know
that has
it doesn't work.
More trees.
I'm
I
really
would say.
sorry about that.
So that's east for any of you guys that have a compass on you. I'm just going to take you guys to the troll shores. Now, I could hypothetically add some mood lighting, as many of you know that when just in The Hobbit, that they obviously met the trolls during the nighttime. So I might just change it, depending on what you guys feel like. If nighttime scares anyone, then you can use /player time. But I'm thinking of just doing this amazing command here. Because today's going to be a day of mood lighting, and that's too dark.
Make up your mind.
I know, right? So, many of you will know that the Troll Shores had some significance in, well, more significance in the Hobbit than the Fellowship, but in the Fellowship they do also pass by it. They were kind of known as Mr. Bilbo's trolls, so to speak. And so, if you guys would just like to carry on following, we're going to take a shortcut off of the path up towards the... It's kind of a mountain, more of a hill. So, if you guys are not following too much ahead between these trees over here, we're going to head up, and it's going to be a bit parkoury. So if you guys can't climb hills, then have fun, and /call me later. But
User joined your
anyway,
channel.
Getting on terms of lore, you may remember that there's obviously 3 trolls. Now these are called Tom, William, and Bert. Now what confused me as a kid is that William was also nicknamed Bill Huggins. Well, and
User disconnected from your
that's kind of
channel.
confusing for anyone that doesn't really do well with new names and books. So that was always fun for me as a kid. But basically, you may remember that in the book, they kind of
User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
For so long, they were running low on food and they didn't have much supplies. So when Thorin's company and Bilbo saw this fire, they basically thought, well, regardless as to what it is, we should steal from them. So taking their trusty little burglar, they basically asked for him to try and see what was up and to try and see if they can find some food. So what does he do but discover 3 trolls that are pretty hungry.
User
had
joined your
some sheep,
channel.
but not for quite a while, and would practically eat anything. So it basically ends up with them all being captured, and it's not until after quite some time does Gandalf appear and basically save the day, as he had been like on his own different adventure for quite a while. They're pretty pleased to see him, and he basically confused the trolls by throwing his voice and making them believe that they couldn't decide on how to cook the dwarves and the hobbits.
User left your channel.
And so they carried on talking till daytime. And all good wizards know that if trolls are out of date, they turn to stone. So you may notice that these are made of stone. Now, these trolls were made by various staff, including Bev's Demon and Credo, if I'm correct. And so they're pretty nice. They've been here for quite a while now. On our second map. On the first map, they were slightly different, and it's been revamped since then. Now, if you guys would like to follow me past the trolls, we're going to head towards the troll cave that they
User joined your channel.
practically looted. It was described as like there was massive troll stony boots that basically went away through the trees up the hill until hidden by bushes there was a big stone door. Now we don't have this stone door, but where are you guys going? Don't know where I'm going. Going around this way. But we obviously don't have this stone door because it would then be kind of a hassle to get in. And so we've just gone for a normal cave door, but it does look pretty cool. This stone door was then opened quite conveniently by a very giant key, which our burglar actually did manage to pickpocket, and was probably the only thing he was actually any decent at. He was obviously a great burglar, as obviously his very little feet made him a lot quieter. So, if you just kind of have a look around, it was described that there was bones on the floor and a nasty smell in the air, but basically they found a lot of food. They found things like bread, cheese, and ale, so they got quite a lot of food, which was really useful for them as they headed towards Rivendell. But most importantly, they found 2 swords and basically a small
User
knife
disconnected from your channel.
So, Thorin found the Orcrist, which was basically the goblin cleaver in the ancient tongue of Gondolin, because they were made in Gondolin for the Goblin Wars, so when they then later met some goblins, these goblins were not happy to see these same old famous swords that went down in their history. Gandalf found the Glamdring, which was known as the foe hammer that the King of Gondolin once had, and then Bilbo had a little knife, which he was able to hide in his sock. But this knife was practically the best OP knife there, because many of you know that when he got near orcs, it then glowed. And now, if that's not a really convenient tool to have when dealing with orcs, I don't know what is. Now, this little knife was not named until later, where basically he fought a giant spider, and it was described as having a sting when he was attacking the spider, so he then named his little dagger Sting. So, if you guys would like to continue back out, we're going to head along the path as we head towards Rivendell, which they did before, and I'll be handing you over to Jord to try and make the journey a little bit more interesting. Jord, you want to talk?
Yep. So for those of you that don't know, but you should, I am Jord. I was a ranger for 1.5 years, and am now a bounder, and I shall be leading you
User
through
disconnected from your channel.
Rivendell and Lothlorien, once we make our way back to the Great East Road.
So if you guys want to fly over here, or call, head generally this way.
I'm going to speak about the lore and hope I don't run out of lore before we actually reach Rivendell. Rivendell was founded in the Second Age by Elrond. It was founded as a sort of fortification for Eregion. It was settled by elves from Eregion, including Elrond. Many of these were Noldorin. And Rivendell became the sort of last line of defense against the forces of Sauron in Eregion during the War of the Elves and Sauron, because pretty much everything had been wrecked. From there, it went on to eventually drive back Sauron from Eregion with the forces of Lindon, and it also, I believe, had support from Numenor under Tar something or another.
I believe I will just add that the admiral was Tyrion, so I can't remember what the king was.
So once again, if you have friends
Find
that
the
are fans
kings.
of Lord of the Rings, please feel free to send my Twitch to them so they can look it up
is
as
the
well.
king who supported it.
So they can enjoy this beautiful tour through
Beautiful.
the land
For
of
those that
Lord
are
of the
wondering
Rings.
why the Great East Road, with
Middle
Great
Earth.
East Road, for those that don't know how a compass works, it heads east.
Yes.
Does it?
That's
Thanks,
the best lore
Lizzie.
fact I know
Really?
about the Great
Oh
East
my
Road.
God.
But it also had like it heads west as well. If you look at it in another direction, and it's
But
pretty great.
for
So
some reason,
trippy.
it
It's
doesn't
called the
get
Great
called the
East
West
Road
Road.
because it took people east. People travelled east on it more than they travelled west on it.
But it still
I
went
want to see some
westward.
statistics
Except
for
for the
that.
Third Age when all the
Look,
elves
there
were
are
going
footprints
west
on the
to
ground,
sod off.
which means that
Oh, brilliant.
Frodo and his company have
I think
followed
sod off
this
is definitely one way to describe it.
road.
Because the elves were fed up from Middle-earth, they didn't want to hang around anymore, and they decided to screw it, we're going to Valinor.
I'm sure you're going to tell us all about that when we actually get to Rivendell on this really long path.
Yes, because I don't want to.
Are the Green Heavens done? Sorry.
Nope.
Sorry. No? Okay, have they been started at all?
Nope.
Okay.
Big mountain in the background.
I'm just going to run ahead. Oh, great, guys.
User joined your channel.
Are we just going to skip to Rivendell? Do you think that would be a good idea?
It
Or
would
do
be
you
best
guys...
because it is quite far.
Can I
Who
turn
wants to
yes?
walk for another
I
10 minutes
can.
on an amazing,
Give me 1
beautiful road
second.
that was probably made by the community?
There we go. Is this better?
The most famous commoners and thralls that no one can remember to this day.
Wow.
Oh, Cameron!
We're almost at the fords of
Wow,
Brunnen.
Lizzie. Just
Oh,
wow.
this is a big canyon.
Some of you may also notice that if you've
No
run into the talk
problem.
before, I'm just going to talk about them again, but these little footprints were placed in by Finrod, and basically they lead the Fellowship route. So if you guys are ever bored and want to travel the Fellowship route, these go like quite across the map so far, and they kind of stop.
User joined your
and then
channel.
continue on again. But
did you guys redo them?
yeah, and we've also added some things that are more lore appropriate to the route. It's great.
Oh, okay.
It's also very convenient for the audiobook that we do, and there's going to be another audiobook next Friday for those that are interested.
We're not even at the fords of Brunnen yet.
We are, George, we are.
Oh, we are? I'm
Yeah,
just
you're
at the
really
back.
cool.
Oh, there we go, now I see it.
Do you anyone want to talk about the fords of
How do I end up at the back of the tour?
Because
Never mind.
I ran ahead.
So, for those of you that are at the Fords of Brunnen, or are crossing the Fords of Brunnen, or have crossed the Fords of Brunnen, these are the Fords of Brunnen. They act
Well.
Thank you, George.
No
Sorry.
problem.
Wait, where are we again?
Didn't quite catch that.
This acted as a sort of defense system for Rivendell. It was one of the only passes through the valley, and it meant that the elves of Rivendell could hold off any invaders from here. It is also the place where Frodo passed into Rivendell on the back of Glorfindel's horse, and where the Nazgul were washed downstream by the water. From there, the Nazgul actually ended up losing their horses and were replaced with a much more badass mount in the form of the Fellbeast, which caused significantly more issues than horses would have done in the later days. Yes, the Fords of Brunnen, very important location. Yeah, the fell beasts are the giant black. I say giants. Some.
User joined your channel.
Dragon-like creatures that the Nazgul ride. Things that scream quite loudly. Most people think that that's the Nazgul themselves.
But that would be wrong.
No, they're not dragons, but they're dragon-like. There's not actually very much information
User
on
joined your
exactly
channel.
where the fell beasts come from. It is thought that the fell beasts could have come from the Dark Land, but there's
User left your
also some
channel.
people, I've also seen some mention of the fell beasts being hunted by not Tolkis, Valar of the Hunt. I can't remember his name.
Boromir.
Yes,
Yeah.
Boromir hunted fell beasts in Middle-earth. And I believe they were also mentioned in sort
User
of
joined your
South Middle-earth,
channel.
the Harad and Rune sort of area, but there's not lots of information on them. So we should be shortly approaching Rivendell now, so I can hopefully talk without running out of information before we approach it. Rivendell had some very strong links with the Kingdom of Men in Middle-earth, because Elrond was the brother of Elros, who was the first king of the Númenóreans, and his descendants became the Gondorians and the Arnorians, and particularly the Númenóreans. So Aragorn, Isildur, Elendil, they're all descendants of Elros, and so Elrond sort of felt obliged to look after them. And when the elves and the men marched in the War of the Last Alliance, Isildur's son and wife remained at Imladris, where it was safe.
Oh god, I probably have the wrong
as
texture
you all
pack.
know, in the War of the Last Alliance, Isildur cut the ring from Sauron's finger using the shards of Narsil, but Isildur's father, Elendil, and Isildur's brother, Anarion, unfortunately died in the battle, leaving Isildur as king of Arnor and Gondor.
What did God say on the
declared
7th
that,
day?
should he die, the rule of Arnor will pass on to his son Vanandil, and the rule of Gondor will pass on to his nephew Meneldur, I think it is. Unfortunately, on Isildur's journey
Okay,
to visit
ignore
Rivendell, he
the
was
greyish
assailed
kind of
by
parts.
orcs, and the Ring of Power was lost in the river.
I probably have the wrong texture pack.
But fortunately, the shards of Narsil were recovered and passed down through the families in Rivendell. Through the families in Arnor. It's probably worth mentioning now also that I mentioned before that Arnor was given to Vaneldir, and Gondor was given to Meneldur. There was also rules later instructed that one man was not allowed to rule over Arnor and Gondor, so the two kingdoms remained separate. So to rule over Arnor, you had to be a descendant of Vaneldir, and to rule over Gondor, you had to be a descendant of Meneldur. And Aragorn was of Valandil, which is what caused some of the use the word drama when he came to claim the throne of Gondor in the late Third Age. Rivendell had very strong
User joined your channel
for the duration of Arnor's lifespan, and it aided a lot in the wars with Angmar. Eventually, though, Arnor fell to the powers of the Witch King, and the relics of Arnor went into the hands
User
of
left your
Rivendell,
channel.
including some of the very last records of Númenor, and many of the Dunedain stayed in Elrond under stayed in Rivendell under Elrond's guidance.
I will show you guys my favorite place in Rivendell.
User joined your channel.
I really love that spot.
We have now arrived at Rivendell, for those of you who are slightly...
Oh.
This place was also known as the last homely house because, as I mentioned, it was the last sanctuary for the elves in Eregion after Sauron invaded, and it's the only place that elves now live in Eregion. It's also quite homely.
User left your channel.
There's places dotted around for people to stay in when they visit, and it was the host place of the Council of Elrond, which is located towards the back of Rivendell. If people can see me, if they want to follow me down, or everyone can just be TP'd there. That's much swifter way. This is the Council of Elrond.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
Happened. I believe the White Council also met here on several occasions, and it is where it was decided on. Well, it is where the fate of the ring was decided on, and the forge place of the Fellowship of the Ring. Which scene I'm sure you're all very familiar with.
Here we go. Oh.
Rivendell played somewhat important role in the Third Age, as it acted as a checkpoint for both the Fellowship of the Ring and for Thorin's company when passing through. Thorin's company rested here on their way to Erebor, and I think they did back as well, but I'm not sure about that. And the Fellowship stayed here for a while, and Frodo recovered here after being rescued from Mount Doom.
Question?
Go ahead.
How many elves lived in Rivendell?
A proper number really isn't ever given, but it can be assumed that the number of elves sort of declined as it moved further into the Third Age. There would have been higher numbers when it was first established, and obviously when Eregion was being wrecked by Sauron, because it's the only place they could really go other than Lindon. So the numbers would have been much higher, but in the later times it wouldn't have been a lot of people. Most elves at the time were migrating to Valinor.
The ring is not here.
I should probably also mention Elrond's family. Elrond
it.
had 2 sons who were twins, which are...
Oh, my night vision is so long.
Names have suddenly gone from my head now.
Elodan and Elro.
Yes, that's it. Elodan and Elro here. And his daughter, who was Arwen, who was said to be the fairest of all the elves. Elrond's wife was Celebrian, and she was the daughter of Galadriel and Celeborn, the Lord and Lady of Lothlorien. Any other questions?
Any questions, you guys? Oh god, I'm getting...
Those that are lost were currently hanging out around by the council.
If you guys have any questions in the
You're
chat, feel free to ask.
User disconnected from your channel.
People here.
Originally it had a problem where it wasn't symmetrical, so then I bugged quite a few people when I was a ranger to make the circle a little more symmetrical. It was originally lopsided. Also a fun fact server-wise is if Valar have a retextured gold thing, I can't remember what it is. It's a gold nugget. It looks like a ring, and if they use it, they vanish. It's also a similar perk as
User joined your channel.
Pipes, which are blaze rods.
I think you really know it yourself, one nerdy dude.
But as you guys aren't Valar, it sucks to suck, so you can't do it.
I should probably also mention it was built by Blue Harvest, I believe. Mostly by himself, but with I believe he had a little bit of help from other people.
Uh-oh, there's a hole now.
Some of you will be wondering how we have the fancy leaves. They are done by changing the biome on specific trees. Because you can set the colour of leaves and grass and whatnot, just foliage in general, based on the biome. So if we have tiny little biomes below the trees, then the trees will change colours. Oh, was it Bev's? I thought it was...
Yeah, Bev's made most of this. Good job.
Oh, it was Bev, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a great stone.
My strength is in the lore, not in the server history.
Well, this is not supposed to be grey, you know. This
the newest addition to Rivendell was
kind of my fault.
actually an Easter egg from the Hobbit movies. if people want to follow me away from the Council of Elrond, we shall go visit the what has been known as Elrond's Observatory, which was a gap just below the waterfall, looking. I think it's supposed to be looking westward.
You know it from the movie like this.
I'm not sure it actually
believe.
does look. Or you could just. I was going to show people how to get here, but that's okay.
In like
you can just
this,
TP
like
somewhere.
ooh. Ready to read the map with the moon runes on it.
Across the rocks here, and there is a little staircase.
User joined your channel.
And this was the thing that. This was where Elrond put down the map to Erebor that revealed the
User left your channel.
Curse, which was the dwarven runes, and specifically the moon runes that could only be seen in the light of the full moon.
By the way, if you're going through the tunnel, don't go to
User
the left,
joined your
to the right.
channel.
I saw some people going to the left.
Also, if it's really dark, if you guys have a Nether Star, you can right-click to make it brighter. But the command /FET works the same, but it's not necessarily that dark.
User disconnected from your channel.
Yeah, I said
Try
FBT.
everything.
You just said FT, didn't you?
I said FBT, but my pronunciation is obviously more amazing than yours.
Well, anyway, any other questions concerning Rivendell?
Any questions?
I have a question. Have Rivendell ever been under siege?
It was under siege twice, I think. It was besieged by Angmar's forces during the Second Age, during the War of the Elves. No, it wouldn't have been under. It was besieged by Sauron's forces during the War of the Elves and Sauron, and it also came under siege by Angmar during the Third Age. That was after Arnor was divided into Arthedain, Ludar, and Cardolan. But Rivendell is just too tough to take.
Just to add on to that, the first time it was besieged, the house itself wasn't built. It was meant that the valley was basically just used as a refuge by some of the forces of the elves.
Right, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, so I believe we're now moving on to Farbad with Ego now.
Hello.
I believe that this location is kind of a ridiculous way to walk from Rivendell, so
we're definitely warping. I'm
so we're
not
just
walking
gonna
there.
warp there. As annoying as this may be, so Kais, if you want to come over here, and then potentially just teleport people, that would be nice.
You sexy beast.
Hello. Ouch.
There we go.
Is everybody here? Yeah, everybody's here. Alrighty then.
There's a
Farbad. It's quite an interesting place, since well, like interesting. It's as interesting as it gets with Tolkien, which is pretty damn interesting. Well, basically, it started out as a small logging camp, like a small little colony by the Númenóreans, which they basically just they had this small little harbor on the side of this river right here called the Grey River, and they basically just chopped wood, since there was such a large amount of wood in this area, which angered the natives of this area quite a lot, since, well, they basically lived here, and the Númenóreans just came and they Britished everything, just coming there and saying that we own this. You don't have any right to your own land. And, well,
User left your
took
channel.
it, chopped down a lot of wood, and the natives got really angry, so they started sort of slightly attacking the logging camps they had, which meant that the Númenóreans had to build a bit more defensiveness. George, don't get offended. Which started out, like, they started building this nice wall they have around the Farbad. Well, not the entirety of Farbad, since Farbad only was a small port at the time. But the more the logging camp grew, the more the whole defense grew, as the city. And when Numenorian fell, as Jord explained
Hey,
earlier,
Chris.
and when Arnor and Gondor formed, they basically needed a
User joined your
quite a
channel.
solid connection between the two kingdoms, and therefore they started building the bridge that goes over the ford. Which, well, let's just say it helped quite a lot in the whole growing process of Tharbad, since, well, a lot of
User
trade
disconnected from your channel.
came through Tharbad. And
Hey, Hillary.
the thing about trade is that this city basically lived on it when the forest ran out. So when the Great Plague hit Middle-earth, it didn't directly kill all the people in Tharbad, but it killed all the people that Tharbad traded with. Well, not all, but quite a lot of them. Which meant that the city that relied on trade just didn't have any trade, which meant that people started leaving, and it soon grew quite empty and not such a nice place to live in anymore. And that's pretty much the lore I know about Tharbad. Server-wise, it like not really that much to say. It was ruined by Credo some like I think like 7 months ago.
User joined your channel.
I would just say that I did a lot of ruining, which I'm quite proud of.
I helped.
I think I might find a ruined house.
These are ranger
But,
camps, by the way.
User
not
disconnected
really
from your
that
channel.
Much more to say. It's ruined in the same way as we're ruining Osgard right now. We're basically we built finished house and then we just ruined it. And that way it looks a bit more realistic since we don't start building a ruined house from the beginning.
User joined your
any
channel.
Questions?
Yeah, in a couple places around the city, there's like tents and stuff. So did people still like
User
live in the
disconnected
city,
from your
just
channel.
Ranger tents.
chill there?
Well, yeah, basically. They like in the same way as homeless people live out on the street, they lived here. It was a nice place since they could get roof over their heads and they could live pretty.
User disconnected from your channel.
Pretty safely, even though it wasn't really. Well, how do you say? Even though it isn't really that like.
Yeah, ranger
God damn my
tents.
English. Anyway, yeah. Since, well, like, still, a lot of people lived here, but they didn't really have any administrative, like,
User joined your channel.
administrative overlords, if you were to say it like that. Wait, let me check. Someone said something in chat. What age was the city built? I'm not directly sure, but the city grew, like, it wasn't really a city. Well, around the same time that Arnor and Gondor was founded, which I think is around the Second Age. Yeah, as Fortnite said. Any more questions?
Any questions over here?
I think that's no. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well then, I think we are moving on to Oslefo, which is going to be led by Fornad.
Yes, indeed.
Pronunciation.
It's not too far away.
If I'm not mistaken, that's
Well,
where the rings were
It's
made.
Well, I think we should walk there because it is quite far away.
So,
And yeah, whilst the river is very interesting, I don't have much to say about it.
so many rivers. But talking of rivers, we do plan on doing a river dig soon.
Lizzie is so excited.
Oh man, that's kind of job.
I forgot something which is quite interesting about Tharbad, which I can just add. The river in itself was like it was hollowed out. If you were to say it, like it was dug deeper by hand by the humans, which was one of the more massive projects they've done in this area, just so they could get larger vessels coming in and through. I think that's quite interesting.
I knew I was right about that. See, there's still a little bit of ranger
Right,
in
so
me.
we can start on the bridge back here, and we'll go from there, I think.
So, Ranger here wants to teleport everyone. That would be cool.
Yep. Ties, maybe? It's the place that isn't the bridge.
Ah, yeah, I remember this.
Alright,
They
is that
changed
everyone?
a lot. Oh my goodness.
Let's go with it.
Okay, so after the War of Wrath, which was at the end of the first stage, many of the exiled Noldor elves came east from the ruins of Beleriand and created two kingdoms. Lindon, a coastal kingdom whose capital was at the Grey Havens, and 700 years later they founded Eregion, which is it's a kingdom in the foothills of the Misty Mountains, and its capital was Ostinethil, which is this place. It lay at the confluence of two rivers, the Saranan, also known as the Gate Stream, and the Glanduin, which translates to Border River. And the Glanduin is called Border River because it formed the southern border of Eregion. So Ostinethil was located right at the very southern border of the kingdom. Its name means Fortress of the Elves in Sindarin, though its inhabitants, being mostly Noldorin and therefore speakers of Quenya, probably would have called it Alta Eldar, though I'd probably have to check with Finrod on that one. You can see that its name has some justification. It's more akin
User
to a
in your
fortified
channel
citadel,
timed out.
than a city. Now, this place was originally founded by Galadriel and Celeborn before they later went on to rule Lothlorien, and under their rulership, Ostinethil grew in importance and traded with both the Númenóreans in Tharbad, where we just were, and the dwarves of Khazad-dûm, which later became
User
known
entered
as
your channel.
Mordor.
User disconnected from your channel.
Though it might seem surprising that the elves would trade and have a good relationship with the dwarves, the Noldor were perhaps, you could say they were perhaps the most dwarven of the clans, or dwarven.
User left your
dwarf-like.
channel.
They were great at crafting, great at smithing and fighting, so it was perhaps inevitable that they would form a strong alliance. Indeed, when Galadriel and Celeborn travelled to Lothlorien, they went through Khazad-dûm.
I can't speak
Now,
more,
after
guys.
Galadriel and Celeborn left this place, the rulership of the whole of Eregion went over to Celebrimbor. Now, Celebrimbor was the grandson of Fëanor, Fëanor himself was the greatest smith who ever lived, and Celebrimbor was said to be the greatest smith.
User joined your
Fëanor.
channel.
And Celebrimbor himself was the leader of a guild in the city called the Gwathi Myrdain, which translates to People of the Jewelsmiths. Celebrimbor drew the Athildin letters on the west gate of Khazad-dûm, which the Fellowship would later pass through many thousands of years later. And indeed, he and his people helped beautify Khazad-dûm during their 1,000-year alliance
User
with the dwarves,
disconnected from
which
your
is
channel.
straying a little bit into Moria lore, but we'll
User joined your channel.
Whilst the Gwathi Myrdain were great smiths, they did not have the foresight of Elrond and Gil-galad and Lindon. A wandering elf who called himself
User
Anatar,
disconnected
or
from
Lord
your
of Gifts,
channel.
came to the Grey Havens in about the year 1200 of the Second Age, asking to speak with the king in Lindon, who was called Gil-galad. Instead of accepting him, they mistrusted him and turned him away, even though he said he was an emissary from the Valar. And instead of that, he travelled to Ostinethil because he thought he might be accepted there. The elves here did not mistrust him, in fact took him in and learned a lot from him. They found that he was very skilled in arts and magic, and so the Gwathi Myrdain became, under him, the greatest smiths in Middle-earth. By 1500 of the Second Age, they became skilled enough to begin forging the Rings of Power, or the greatest 16 rings at least. So it took them about 90 years, so 90 years, to create the greatest 16, which later became known as the 7 and the 9. After these were made, Anatar left Ostinethil, and over the next 10 years, Celebrimbor alone created the 3, the most powerful of the rings that had yet been created, and the 3 were later called Nenya, Vilya, and Narnia. And in the year 1600, so this is after these 10 years, so Celebrimbor just finished the 3 rings.
User
The
joined
elves
your
here
channel.
perceived that they had been betrayed.
User joined your
The
channel.
greatest 16 rings suddenly fell under the control of a single ring, which had been created many hundreds of miles away in Mordor. Realizing that Anatar had been the lieutenant of Morgoth, Sauron, all along, the Gwathi Myrdain refused to give their rings over to him when he demanded them. Celebrimbor, knowing the 3 were not under Sauron's control, sent Nenya to Galadriel and Lothlorien, who advised him to send the other 2 west, away from Sauron. So he gave Vilya and Narnia to the High King Gil-galad in Lindon. Sauron knew, however, that the greater 16 still lay in Ostinethil, so the War of the Elves and Sauron began. After preparing his forces for about 90 years, so quite a long time, it seems he was probably breeding orcs, Sauron launched his attack upon Eredor in 1695. Though the Númenóreans had been expecting this
User
attack for a
joined
long
your
time,
channel.
the fleet which they sent out from Númenor was delayed and was unable to reach Eredor for 5 years. During this time, Sauron's forces laid siege to Ostinierfield, and though the elves here held out against his forces for a long while, the walls of the citadel eventually fell to the invaders. In a last desperate stand, Celebrimbor fought Sauron himself on the steps to the Gwathi Mirdain's forge and was slain. He was the last direct descendant of the line of Fëanor. Though Sauron was eventually defeated through the combined efforts of the dwarves of Khazad-dûm, Númenóreans, and elves of Lindon, Eregion lay in ruins and was never resettled. And in Ladras, Rivendell, was founded after this. So, during the same war, as I was saying before, some of the elves were driven north into the valleys near the Misty Mountains and held out in this valley. And afterwards, they decided not to resettle Eregion because it was too destroyed, so they just created Rivendell instead. And that became the kind of eastern outpost of the elves. I suppose that's pretty much all I can think of. In terms of server lore, I think the original Ostinierfield, which you can still see on the old map, was built entirely by a single builder over the course of 1 week, and that was Andalaf.
User joined your channel.
And this version, now on the new server, was led by many people. Built by many people. It was led by Mastermind, and the forge was built by Finor and Abendil. There was a competition, I believe, and together everyone it was decided that Finor was the best one.
User disconnected from your channel.
I guess if we could all have a TP, I think most people were there already.
Oh,
but this is the forge where the rings were made. I think Ostinierfield was completed on the same day I resigned from Ranger, actually, which is the 2nd of April this year. And that's all I can think of for Ostinierfield.
Any questions,
There's also
guys?
some very nice ruining jobs that I got part in. Yay!
It looks really pretty.
So yeah, some of you may notice that it may not be as ruined as it was described, but this was a decision in order to make it look as pretty as they can, with it still being relatively lore appropriate.
User
Otherwise,
disconnected from your channel.
A pile of rubble that would have little to no aesthetic appeal.
Yes,
Pikachu!
Ostinierfield was ruined
thank you so much
or destroyed by
for
Sauron's
following.
forces 4,700 years before the War of the Ring, which is a very long time. It's about the same time. I mean, this is ancient Egypt stuff, right? In terms of in our world, so it's very old, and indeed would be completely ruined. There'd be nothing here, pretty much.
Yeah, we've described the wood that you may see on some of the bridges as magic elven wood that doesn't suffer the same rotting properties as standard wood. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any. So, I believe now Forned is going to take us to Moria, and we have to do this on the old map, as many of you are aware that we don't have a Moria on the new map yet. So, we're gonna end up traveling to Ex Moria, and I believe one of our rangers is then gonna teleport you guys. It's going to be very dark. You're going to want to whack up your brightness either a butt ton, or use the command /FBT, or use a nether star, all of which will hopefully allow you to see that little bit better.
If we all teleport, actually, it would be nice if we could teleport to, yeah, I guess just outside rather than inside. So I've got a bit to say about the outside first. Okay, so we are now standing at the gates of Moria, or Khazad-dûm as it used to be known. Now here in front of us, or just behind us I suppose, depending on where you're looking, there's a large lake which has been formed from the damming of a stream called the Siranen. Now the Siranen is the one, or one of the rivers that flows past Ostinierfield, and I think on the other side of the lake you can see some cobblestone. That is part of a road that runs all the way to Ostinierfield. Obviously we're on the old map, so yeah, it technically does.
This is also house of that creepy
now,
tentacle
in the lake,
monster.
there lived a tentacle beast called the Watcher. There are many theories as to what the Watcher actually was, though pretty much all we have really, all we truly know, is that it was a beast created, or that's existed since the creation of the world, and was probably the result of Morgoth himself tampering with stuff when the Valar were creating war. So yeah, that's the Watcher and the gate itself. Now during the Second Age, I'd say about 5,000 years before before the server was set, it was decided to open a way on the west side of Moria, which would facilitate contact and cooperation between the Elven Kingdom of Hollin, which was also known as Eregion, I forgot to mention that, and Khazad-dûm, as the dwarves of Khazad-dûm and the elves as the dwarves of Khazad-dûm and the elves of Eregion were great allies. So, first of all, the first thing you need to know about Moria is we are kind of going through it backwards. Moria was the oldest part of Moria is on the east side, and we are on the west side. And the doors themselves were made so that their edges matched so perfectly with the mountain that when closed they couldn't be seen. The slabs, as it says on the inscription, it doesn't say on the inscription here, but the slabs were made by Navi, who was a dwarf of Moria, out of a grey material stronger than stone. And the doors themselves were inlaid by Celebrimbor, as I said before, with a fielding, which is a material that could only be seen in starlight and moonlight. The inscription above the doors said, well translated, it said, "The doors of Durin, Lord of Moria, speak, friend, and enter.
User left your channel.
Celebrimbor of Hollin drew these signs." Now the server is set before the Fellowship came to Moria, or at least just before, so the two big holly trees are not ripped down in front of the gate. Alright, so we might as well enter Moria itself. So this is the first hall we'll come into. Probably one of the later halls that was made in Moria itself. It's got a big sort of chasm running through it. And this is
User joined your channel.
Directly from the book. As soon as the Fellowship came in, they saw these steps that ran all the way upwards, which is kind of counterintuitive. Almost you'd expect stuff to go downwards, but the first thing that happens is they go up. Now, while we're walking, I guess I can tell you a bit about Moria and its history. Durin the Deathless, who was one of the first dwarves ever made, the dwarves were made by Aule, who was the god of smithing. Guys, by the way, it's a long time since I've been through Moria, so if you want to like correct me, my kind of roots, then please do, because I'm kind of focusing more on the lore than the root.
Careful.
Yes. Yeah, so Durin founded it. And he became King Durin the First of Khazad-dûm, and he was also named Durin the Deathless. He wasn't deathless per se, because he died when he was about 500, which is very old for a dwarf. But the reason he was called Deathless is because the dwarves they literally believed that every single king of Khazad-dûm after Durin was a reincarnation of Durin himself, which is why the kings were named Durin the Second, Durin the Third, Durin the Fourth, and so on. So as the millennia passed, the descendants of Durin sat upon the throne of Khazad-dûm, and their city became famous throughout the world. Much of the wealth of the city came from the mithril that was mined here, a light but incredibly strong metal that was extremely valuable. For example, the chain vest that Bilbo gave Frodo was made out of it. And indeed, actually, I believe the armor that the Fountain Guard, or the Citadel Guard, wore in Minas Tirith was also made out of mithril. Now, over the years, the power and wealth of Khazad-dûm increased, especially at the beginning of the Second Age, when dwarves from Novrod and Belegost, two similar dwarven cities in the Blue Mountains to the west, were destroyed after the War of Wrath. So, its power and wealth increased hugely when all these dwarves, who suddenly had no home at all, came here, and increased its numbers, especially. I think we go down here.
Hey, by the way.
I want to jockey chess, but I can't.
God damn it, Sugar. God dang it, Sugar.
I know, right?
Why
By
can't
the way,
you?
Jess.
No, I'm
yes?
stuck.
Your stream is, like your voice is a lot louder on your stream than your TeamSpeak sounds. So sometimes like the really quiet voices you don't really hear on TeamSpeak when you like laugh or something.
Oh, that's weird because I already turned it up way, but I'll just turn my microphone down a little bit. So maybe it's better now.
I think you're gonna have to do that a little bit. I don't know how much you already changed it. I stopped watching half an hour ago, maybe.
I think it's okay now. No worries.
I'm stuck.
Lizzie,
Yeah, guys,
please.
I think this is what was this, like a study hall, as far as
Yeah.
I'm aware. Yeah, I'm gonna have to really space out the lore on this one, because though there is a lot, Moria is very long, so...
Yes! Yes! Ah! Just slow down.
Sorry.
I can't jockey you, why?
Try again.
Yes. Go.
I got a Lizzie with me.
Alright, this is the first major hall that we'll see in Moria, I suppose. It's more of a cavern. But I think that mansion over there was either meant to be a barracks or a mansion of one of the Dwarven kings. I'm not entirely sure. Now, as well as being one of the oldest things in Middle-earth, this is pretty much one of the oldest things on our server. Moria has never been redone, though it will be, simply because the project, I believe, took at least 6 months, if not more, when we did it, and will probably take just as long, if not longer, when we do it again.
6 years!
User joined your channel.
Stupid amount of time. And so, yeah, it just hasn't been redone. We haven't got around to redoing it yet. Because as you can see, a lot of the stuff that we have now is just simply not included. Like, you probably will not see upside down stairs in Moria. You won't see... It's literally that old. It's like there's stuff here that, you know, we're pretty much only use stone, cobble, and slabs, and that's like 90% of the materials in Moria.
A lot of the lighting got changed as well. There are a lot of glowstone blocks that got changed, and any lighting
User
that we
disconnected
had
from your
needed
channel.
to change because of the lighting bug, because otherwise it will crash whenever you would walk here, because it's just too big.
Like the Chamber of Light, which is now the Chamber of not very light at all.
The Chamber
or
of
the Chamber
Space.
of Dark.
It's the spacious chamber.
Mm.
The chamber with the big ass shrine in the middle.
Yep.
There was a long time actually when Moria was closed due to light bugs, and I remember everyone getting very excited when it was opened again.
And it opened on the day I joined.
About 6 months.
Memories.
It was a long time, yeah.
You guys are
Closed
wondering how to
in
fix
March.
lighting bugs, as well as removing light, throw sand at it. Throwing sand
So,
works.
yeah, this is a very large hall, very impressive thing. I don't know if it has any particular purpose. There's several different halls in it. I think there's several small forges.
User left your
maybe
channel.
A guild hall or two. Other people would have to confirm that.
There's also the Hall of Judgment at the very end on the left.
And it's quite confusing, guys. You do need to turn right as soon as you come out the door in order to get down. Or we can just jump. I might just jump.
Darn, we even have a Serbian on.
Yeah, guys, you might need to start teleporting people.
People can also just call me, and I'm getting a journey with the Jess.
The Jess.
Jess is a wolf-like creature that dwells in these caves.
Every day.
User disconnected from your channel.
I'm shuffling. Oh god.
I don't know where the rest is.
What, people? Or where we're heading?
I think everyone is
I
still
think you're
behind
gonna have to
Valeria.
regroup.
We're like a flock of cows. We follow everybody.
Flock of sheep, you mean?
Nope, cows.
To be honest though, if you keep falling off the path, then you're lemmings.
No, cows. Oh, okay then.
Look at these people play.
By the way, Jess, mind my head.
I've been trying to do that, yes.
Jump,
earlier,
Jess.
I think Celebrimbo himself actually gave Durin the Third a ring of power. It's not confirmed, but I believe that's a theory anyway, which would explain. It's certainly one of the dwarven rings. Certainly one of the rings that was given to the dwarves. One of the 7 was gifted to the King of Moria.
Now, fun fact, quite a lot of rangers still don't know the way through Moria. So if you ever ask for a Moria tour, most of them will be using a lovely map that was made by Phoenix Sang, which you can find under resources.
Or we just simply don't do Moria tours.
Well, you know.
Hey.
Moria though.
You know,
you're a head ranger and you
I
learn.
am proud to say that as a ranger, when I was one, I never did a single Moria.
User joined your channel.
We all know, once a ranger, always a ranger.
Oh, hello.
Lizzie, I was a ranger for a year and a half, and I've still never done a Moria tour.
When I was the only one. I think I was the only one who did Moria tours. Like I was saying earlier that
Nope.
that you know, well, not the only one.
I
but
did.
Sure.
I did Moria tours.
I was saying earlier that I was going to get
Moria
lost,
tours.
but I literally think it's muscle memory at this point. I just know exactly where I'm going.
I once did. Oh, yeah, I once did a Moria tour. Never do one again. Horrendous.
Actually, the majority of tours that I ever made, like the majority of my tours were in Moria, actually.
Well, I made a video actually on Moria, and I got it's on 120,000 views now. So technically, I've given 120,000 tours of Moria, and have beaten all of you.
No.
Oh, this is the King's Way, by the way. We passed through the inner gates, which were a defense, just in case the west gate was ever broken through, which it never was. Through there, I guess we could go and see. This is the throne hall of Khazad-dûm. So, yeah, a glowstone thing has been placed in the wrong location. And this is a pretty cool hall itself. It's been completely flooded almost. I think there was originally an aqueduct built here, but it's been it's flooded over.
Balrog is not here.
Anyone still here?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I cut out then.
I am just.
Or it's
Am I in the
quite
right
difficult to
thing?
fill the stuff.
Chamber of Light, yes.
This is the throne hall of Khazad-dûm. So as you can see, the walls I think are supposed to be
Okay,
inlaid
I'm
with
wrong.
mithril, just to show how rich the kings here were.
User
Indeed, they
joined your
were rich.
channel.
I mean, the kingdom of Khazad-dûm did not just include Moria. It included Erebor as well. I mean, not Erebor as we now know it, but Erebor when it was a mining colony. But it included pretty much all of the Misty Mountains, the Grey Mountains. You know, a lot of stuff to the east as well. The dwarves controlled a huge area of mountains at the height of Khazad-dûm's power, simply because their strength in terms of numbers and in terms of their skill in smithing was pretty much unmatched. The goblins couldn't really do anything at the height of the dwarves' power.
If anybody has a question, feel free to ask when there are any quiet moments.
Yeah.
I'm just going down the slide.
So
We could literally just break it up for about 5 minutes now and just answer any questions anyone has, and we can just answer them the best we can while we give Fauna a bit of a break.
Meanwhile, we can head back to the main path.
By the way, guys, you might want to check if you lose people, because there are like 5. I think every hallway you go in, you lose 5 people or something.
So yeah, be sure to call someone. Probably.
Nay.
I kind of wish I was on Faunet's head, so it would be easier, but someone
Sinrod
else
is currently occupying my head.
Yeah, I know. So rude.
And I got
Don't have to
teleported
teleport
away.
50 times.
I do it just in case if anyone's joining. So.
Oh yeah, smart
Now,
of
Fauna,
hands.
do you perhaps also want to show people the lovely little slide that we have in here? In like.
We have a slide in here.
Well, not in here, but in the
Hello. The Chamber of Light.
Chamber of Light, yeah.
I'm already going down it, Lizzie.
Yeah, I've heard.
Oh yeah, she's going down.
God damn it, you!
For fuck's sake.
Well, every sure.
You're
You have to come up with one
Ugh.
innuendo. But
Let me-
however, you haven't had your
User disconnected from your
that's
channel.
what she said joke yet, so.
But I did on Jesse's video. I'm so proud. I didn't know he was gonna leave it in. Oh yeah.
Well, feel proud of yourself. This is a proud day to be Belgian.
It's never a proud day to be Belgian.
Oh, shut up.
Good thing
And
I'm
it's
not
never a proud day
Belgian.
to be Dutch, so...
Every day. Every day is a proud day to be... I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, everyone, I'm gonna take you to the water slide and I expect everyone to do it. If you don't, I'm gonna kill you all. Jokes. I'm not,
No,
actually. I'm too kind.
Don't teleport me.
Teleported, yes.
If you don't want to be teleported, leave the tour quickly now. Go, 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 go. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. 5,
I was not
4,
in anyway.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I lost my route.
Banana.
No, I said banana, not banana.
So if anyone's lost and they're
There's a
not
bunch
in the
of
tour
people
yet,
downstairs.
slash tour join again.
Go, 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 go. If you want to wait until
Oh
it clears
my
up.
god.
Oh.
This is just like a
I'm
sludge
winning.
soup.
There you go, Diddy.
Jess, plot twist, Jess is actually winning. She wins life.
Oh my gosh.
I am already down.
See?
Mr. Were-Rabbits, you're going the wrong way.
Elite hacks.
Up here.
Elite hacks.
La hacks.
Not even.
There you go. Oh god. God damn it. You're the worst, Were-Rabbits. The worst.
Yeah, there's quite a few little Easter eggs you'll find in and around
There you
Moria.
go.
Some people
Which,
are still looking for a Balrog that may or may not exist, so we'll never tell.
When we'll never know. We, as Rangers, don't know. I don't think anyone knows where it is. It was once built,
I
once got
don't
told.
There's also a
I-
massive Niang cat in Moria as well.
Yeah,
I thought that was removed.
I think some things have
I
been
think that was moved. Yeah,
No,
Mega
that's,
Gots.
that's definitely still
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no,
the
the
Nyanka was
Nyanka
gone.
is...
I bet you. Yeah, I bet nobody knows where the basketball court is under a hidden castle.
There's also quite a few like different routes that have actually just been blocked off. Like there's whole tunnels and stuff that, because they didn't want to travel that way, they've literally just kind of blocked them off. If people like staff had compasses, you can go around and just find random little places that are no longer used. There's also a couple of routes that were blocked off because people used to try and race through Moria, and there are certain routes that I think one of them annoyed Megawatt so much that he just blocked it off, so people couldn't race through that bit because it was such a shortcut.
I don't remember this.
Talking to him about it
Well,
a week ago.
we basically built all the little troll caves and tunnels. So I think it's still possible to go from the east side to the west side of Moria just via troll tunnels.
I don't know.
It was
I don't
possible
think so.
before.
Was originally.
Yeah.
A lot of goblin tunnels will close because of the lightning bug as well, so it might have been...
Have we got any more stragglers coming down the water slide?
Yep.
I tried
Oh
to
sugar, we
high-five
have like a crowd of
everyone.
10. Jeez.
Crowd of 10 is an understatement.
No, there's about 10 in the cluster.
Oh.
And when the last person gets down, I'm going to TP them all somewhere. Somewhere which you'll never know.
I'm gonna hide us in your basement.
Good night, Elf.
User joined your
This is
channel.
the
I
worst
lied to you
water
as well,
slide I've
I
ever
see.
been on. It's not even exciting.
Oh no. Well, you go, everything is not exciting when you can think about it.
I mean, what kind of quality is this? I'm just stuck inside Darth Ragnar.
What?
I don't like it
either.
User left your channel.
You sure you're not enjoying yourself stuck in Darth Ragnar?
You got me. You got me. You're a very lucky person. He never lets anyone. So.
So anyway, where are we continuing on to?
The other side of Moria. unsure.
Anyone want to lead that way?
I can TP everyone
Yeah,
somewhere
just
safe.
I can lead everyone.
TP everyone to
Fine.
me because this is I'm where we were, or Smith, or
Oh god,
Scarface, or.
I'm on the wrong side.
No, I wasn't done yet.
Whoops.
Sucks.
Alright, on we go.
Whoopsie daisy.
Now, as we'll see in this hall, there's evidence that something a little bit terrible happens in Moria
Avery, sup?
later on. But I haven't quite gone to that yet, though I'm about to. Now, in the Third Age, though the wealth of Moria, I suppose, remained untouched, they still had loads of mithril and gold and all sorts. The numbers of dwarves themselves began to decline. Now, there are several theories as to why that happened, though it's potentially that the men that they were trading with for food began to move away from near to Moria. So, due to increased goblin numbers, so they had less food, because obviously they couldn't grow food inside Moria itself. But regardless, the numbers did begin to decline, and the dwarves began to mine deeper and deeper for mithril. Now, as you know, mining deeper is not always the best idea, because they awoke something beneath the mountains. Now, what they awoke, of course, was the Balrog, and the Balrog, for those of you who haven't read the Silmarillion, they were once about 7 to 9 Balrogs, Tolkien never really made his mind up. And though only one of them survived the ravages of the War of Wrath. The one that did, of course, came all the way east and hid itself beneath the mountains and stayed there for thousands of years. I mean, I think Moria itself, well, it's called Durin's Bay indeed. Yes, Moria itself was inhabited for about 6,400 years before it was finally abandoned. And it was abandoned, of course, because the dwarves themselves could not stand against the Balrog, it being a being of shadow and flame from the first age that even the elves had a lot of trouble defeating. So, yeah, it killed Durin the Sixth, and later, a year later, it killed his son, named the First. As a result of this, it was called Durin's Bane. And the dwarves were forced to abandon their ancient home, and the city stood dark and empty for about 500 years. The Balrog alone lived here. Now, I'm not sure where to go. I think it's, do we turn right?
Yeah, it's right here. We're just standing.
Yes, right here or here.
So yeah, during this time it gained the name Moria, which means Black Pit or Black Abyss in Sindarian. Before then, it was never called Moria because it would have been offensive to the dwarves. Yes, any variants that you can find in the thesaurus on the name Pit or Chasm or Abyss.
No, I am here, Karim, but this is now the MCME lore tour, so it's kind of more important than my face. So, and my voice. That's why.
Okay, go where are you going? I don't know. Come back upstairs. No. Okay.
This
is my personal door. Gigo sucks eggs.
This is a flooded room.
Sucks mad. Only sleep now, Gigo.
This is another flooded hall. At the end of it, you'll see a statue, probably of one of the kings, possibly during the Deathless.
User disconnected from your channel.
Towards that particular statue, it'll be telling you right here.
Look at this statue. Okay, wait. Look at it. How freaking creepy is this? It creeps me the fuck out.
You missed the dooms.
That statue freaks me out. Ugh.
Manly statue.
Creepy statue. It's not a shark. Please stop.
It looks a bit like Genghis Khan.
It's not a shark. Sorry, guys.
Space.
Bum.
Space. Space.
Hey guys.
Alright, we have just come to the guardhouse, or this was called the guardhouse, and this is where the fellowship came to, and again I forgot the way, didn't quite know where to go, so
I have no
I
memory
guess
of
it's
this
appropriate
place.
then, therefore, that we gather here and just make sure we have everyone before we continue. Yes, it might have been called Durin's Crossroads, but I think it was ever mentioned.
So we're
Okay,
about
that's everyone.
halfway through.
Wait, we're only halfway. Damn it.
No, we're not halfway.
Dang it.
We're a little bit over halfway.
Only a little? No.
Yeah, when we were in the flooded room, that was halfway.
Dang it.
Have you already finished all your lore?
No. I'm about halfway through as well, so I'm timing it quite well.
Are you now?
Applause.
Applause.
I need someone's head.
Whoa.
User
You
disconnected
can
from
have
your
my
channel.
head if you want this.
You can have my head any day of the week.
Oh my god.
God damn it, Gigo. You made it sexual innuendo
That
when it
was
wasn't even meant to be.
That was Avery.
Oh, Avery. God dang it, Avery. Stop sounding like Gigo and then making it sound sexual
That
innuendo.
sounds like a tool, man.
Lizzie will totally never
Sound
guess.
like Gigo.
How does he sound like me? I don't understand.
Freaking Kai's always
Gigo,
messing
what?
up.
God, Avery. God.
Stupid Avery. You're always ruining my jokes.
Yeah,
I
what
can
a
attest to this.
little tosser.
We give you Ranger, now this.
Yeah. It's just one thing after the other.
Though, he's actually called Arkengard, though.
Alright guys, this is the East Rift we're just coming into now. This is probably the largest cave in the whole of Moria and stretches for a very long way. I think here this is meant to be either an inn or a guardhouse or something along the lines of that. The level of detail inside is obviously the highest standard.
As you can see, the dwarves went in the interior. They went for this. They call it the Stone Age look. Basically, they thought that you know the whole thing about support pillars and stuff like that. They didn't need that. They thought like physics.
Yeah,
we
it's-
don't need that.
It's very original concept.
Yeah.
Very open concept.
Again, if anyone does have any questions at all about Moria, please do ask.
I have another one. How long did it take for the dwarves to actually build it, to be as big as it is in the movies?
A lot of 180 years.
Well, it took them. I suppose they were still building it up to the time when it was destroyed. So, as I said before, the whole thing was inhabited for about 6,400 years. It took them until
User joined your
about
channel.
year 2000 of the Second Age in order to get to the West Gate. So, in the books, the Moria itself was about 40 miles across, and it took the Fellowship 3 days to get across. So it was huge, and they were, I believe, they were still creating halls and still mining, obviously, up to the point when it was lost.
I apologize for the lag though, guys. I'm also recording
And
right
you're
now.
complaining about those 6 months, eh?
So I'm streaming and recording. This, by the way, is still part of the
Well, you'd be
cave
complaining
where we
about it
just
if you were the
came
one digging
of.
out the holes by hand.
Oh, I know.
That's-
Oh, I know.
And right
No,
now
I won't be
we're
complaining.
on the way
It was
of
wonderful.
the Great
And
Forge.
it's probably really good when it's finished.
If you go like right over here,
I look forward
and
to a
follow
new
through,
Moria.
you'll get
Mm.
like
A new era.
storages of like
Don't like this
lapis
Moria,
and
it's bad.
diamond and gold and iron.
But think about the
Batman.
Moria.
Take that back.
Heresy!
The funny thing is, though, back in the day, this was
User
probably
joined
one
your
of the
channel.
best
Disconnected from your
things
channel.
that had been built.
Anyhow,
So
where
at
are
the
we
end of
now?
this hallway
This was
is
the
the Great
pinnacle
Forge.
of architecture in Minecraft back in its
This,
day.
this actually was, like, back in the day, this was incredible.
Back in the day.
Back in my day!
War.
This is a minor
Because
forge
I am
again with the
streaming
magical
and
wood. The
recording
dwarves
at the
also
Oh yeah,
same
all the
time.
way
It's
back
asking
there.
a lot of
the
my
magical
computer.
lava that didn't ever get cold somehow.
Here we go, the
Or
Great
magical
Forge.
molten metal.
Dwarf and engineering.
And axe of lava.
It's the best engineering.
Lot of lava, lot of water.
Alright, let's keep going because this is not the most interesting one.
These are like the anvils.
User joined your channel. User left your
So yeah,
channel.
as I was saying before, the Balrog did live in here for about 500 years without anyone, because I suppose everyone was a bit too scared to come in. But about 500 years before the beginning of Fellowship of the Ring, or beginning of War of the Ring, goblins from the Misty Mountains began to enter Moria. They were attracted by the riches and by all the
User
weapons
joined
and
your
armor that
channel.
could be found inside. And at the same time, they began to worship the Balrog as a god.
User disconnected from your channel.
Though the orcs' numbers were greatly reduced in the Battle of Nandahirion or the Battle of Azanulbizar, that's the one you see in The Hobbit for those of you uninitiated in Tolkien lore. Though a lot of them were lost, their numbers were still
User joined your channel.
pretty high, as could be seen when the Fellowship came in, and about 10 million goblins came after them. But the reason, actually, even though the dwarves won the Battle of Nandahirion, they lost. Well, A, they lost so many dwarves, and B, when I think it was Thorin and Dane, like Thorin and Dane both saw the Balrog through the East Gate and decided not to enter, which was probably a good decision on their part.
I'm going a bit too far to have. Yes, I am talking with Lord of the Rings.
And this is the Great Forge.
Lord of the Rings fans.
So it is a place where such relics like Durin's axe were forged. I think Durin's axe was lost forever. It was found again by Balin's expedition, but then was lost, I think, forever after that point. Which again, yeah, not the most efficient. So yeah, this again, if you look in the wall here, this is something that you would have seen. I don't know why it was so popular, this effect, back in like beta Minecraft. You know, having glass behind, having lava behind glass in the walls.
They're so cool, it looks like Star Trek. Like Bilbo lasers.
Wow, giggle.
Super cool.
Yeah, this is on the MCME server where I used to like be.
Probably a pretty difficult decision for Thorin, actually. He had the choice of either taking on a dragon in Erebor or taking on a Balrog and some goblins in Moria.
You know, I would choose the dragon any day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You just need to be a good archer to kill a dragon, but you kind of need to be a Maya to kill a Balrog.
Or one of the elves of the first age who are so OP.
Poor Thorin had it hard.
Okay, I'll keep one stack. There we go. Let me wait a little bit.
Yep, I think we should continue on with the Great Forge.
I don't have any questions so far. In the first stage asks, did he
what
die?
happened in the first stage? Read the Silmarillion. Because I'm not fucking
Where
certain.
Lots happened in the first stage.
I have a question. How many Numenorian miles long is Moria?
Oh my god!
And in extent to that question, what is a Numenorian mile?
In American miles?
In American miles.
No, British miles.
How many miles is it long?
I'll go with 70. I would speculate that it's 70 Numenorian miles long. And a Numenorian mile is about 1.1 to an American mile.
Liz, can I ask
What about an English mile?
Yeah.
2.
Liz,
What about kilometers?
20.
1.6.
Can I ask another question, by the way?
I can give an answer to that for the Europeans. A Numenorian mile is slightly more than an actual mile, and I think an actual mile is
like
1.6 kilometers, but the Numenorian
So it's
mile
going to be
is
1.7.
Numenorian mile is 1.85 kilometers.
1.85.
Someone just
That's
gonna
all
have
right.
to come up with a
Liz,
natural
can I
answer.
also ask you a question as well?
What about an inch?
Why do the Americans old-fashionedly use miles instead of kilometers, which is far superior in every way, shape, and form? Thus, Europe is better than America.
I have no idea.
Because the British.
User joined your channel.
Why did the British invite their own live?
Because it's England, they're weird.
Thank you. They Britished it all.
They're just British.
Yeah.
Get back on track, please.
Oh, we
No,
kind of
thank
need
you.
the small talk since there's a
Yeah.
huge
No, no,
amount
no, no,
of
no.
lore,
There's a lot
not
of
that much
corridors.
lore.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, if a nautical mile is 1.85 kilometers, that would make that would be really cool if that was true, because the Numenoreans were famed shipbuilders and sailors, so that would be really cool. This is the East Deep, a place so filled with lava that anyone coming into it would probably be instantly killed. But screw realism. And yeah, it's an amazing place. Or at least would have been amazing when it was built. It's pretty cool. It's still pretty cool, I reckon. I think it's meant to be, if you go up into
User joined your channel.
the building itself, I think it was meant to be a sort of inn or a stopping place anyway, because it kind of forms the border between, as you can see, 4 routes, but some of which are blocked off.
Hello, people.
Hello.
No!
No, Jess, what happened?
Someone kicked me.
Oh my god, who?
Because I was like, it's hot in here, or is it? Because I was like, it's hot in here, or is it just me? And then I got kicked, like, just you. God damn it.
Right, let's see who it is. Wait until the stream shows. Wait until the stream shows. Just you.
Scumbag.
I blame Shen. God damn it, Shen.
It was either Shen or Gundra.
I feel like it might have been Shen.
Gunda. Gunda, why do you do it?
Shen, if it was you, that's power abuse.
God damn it,
I didn't
Gunda. It's
do
worse than me
anything.
TPing all the druids into
Where
fire.
are you guys at?
Lava. I see lots of lava on a bridge, and
I think we should
And so
teleport
lots
back
of
to
people-
It's the
Goblin
East
Tunnel.
Deep, I think.
Oh, you're in Warrior.
Oh, you guys are still
Yep.
there.
That summed it up.
People move
Is that
to
a
the
goblin
door!
So,
Remove
Kai,
to the
since
door.
you're leading the tour, would you like to teleport people over to this lovely pile of lava where me and Fawnad are?
Actually, something to mention about this place. It's called the East Deep, and unfortunately, due to the height restrictions we have with Minecraft, we would otherwise have, we build Moria the way it should be, which is it should have been 7 levels and 7 deeps. The way that works is the 7 levels are above the height of the East Gate, and the deeps are below. But that would require a ridiculously high height limit, and we unfortunately don't have that. So, with Moria 2.0, we will have double the height limit that we had before, so we'll be able to have, halls on top of halls, which will be pretty cool. But unfortunately, we won't be able to have 14 separate levels.
When Moria was built, the height limit was 128, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow. That's why it's
User
so low. I
disconnected
was
from your
wondering.
channel.
And there's a reason we can't have the whole chasm under the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Because of
And
people
also
like me
around.
TPing you all into fire. Mwahahaha.
You can never have nice things.
I can have nice things if I want.
No, you can't.
You can't
I
because
want
you're
nice
pathetic.
things!
Shut up, Jess.
No!
Same as George. Both can't have nice things.
George has a fan club though, so.
Lizzie?
Oh yeah, he does. Nice.
Lizzie?
Yes, yes.
It's time to start a revolution of nice things.
Nice things. I think we need to go
Shoes.
make some nice things.
Like
Those girl-only
unicorns.
jobs.
This
Unicorns
tour
and
is
cupcakes
Makeup.
and rainbows and everything pink.
I have a question. What's happened to Moria after the War of the Ring?
It was
reclaimed in a fourth age.
Well,
by during the
Okay,
second
well,
and last.
Can
Everyone be quiet unless your name is Fornad.
Thank you. I was going to get onto that at the end, but I might as well answer it now. After the fourth age, or after the end of the third age, obviously the Balrog was dead, and there was nothing stopping the dwarves from reclaiming Moria. So I believe it was the son. Well, it wasn't actually confirmed whether it was the son or one of the many descendants of Dain II, who was king of Erebor. One of his descendants reclaimed Moria and became Durin the Seventh. that's pretty much it. There's not much else to be said about that. Talking didn't really include.
The only other thing I would say is that during the Seventh was known as during the Last, so it's
Yes,
assumed he was
Aruik.
probably the last king of Moria, and it's assumed that what happens to the dwarfs is eventually they dwindled away until they were virtually nothing. The main reason for this, I'd say, is because apparently for every 3 men there's a woman, so there's really imbalance in gender, and also the fact that less dwarfs want to have were interested in making children, as they were more focused in fortune and combat. Those pesky dwarves.
Actually, the reason that during the 7th was known as during the last is because during the 8th was transsexual and became known as Diana instead.
God damn it, George.
Right, this is the ignoring that. This is the 21st hall. Welcome everyone.
That's not quite appropriate.
Yeah. The
Damn
21st.
it.
I'd like to know
hall.
how accurate that is.
The Fellowship stayed in here for a night. It's one of the more impressive halls in Moria, and yeah, being called the 21st hall, that gives you an idea. There are at least 20
User
other halls,
disconnected from your channel.
big halls like this in Moria. And we're now heading towards the Chamber of Muzzable, which is probably one of the more famous rooms in Moria.
And as you can see on the left and right, there is some lovely buttons placed out like a console, which they do absolutely nothing. Wink wink, nudge nudge.
Okay, so this is the Chamber of Muzzable. Now, 12 years before the events of the War of the Ring, or the events before the Fellowship came here anyway, an expedition from Erebor led by Balin, who was one of the company dwarfs in the Hobbits, attempted to regain Moria. The colony was successful at first and killed a considerable number of orcs, and they took many of the eastern halls and found many of the lost treasures, such as Durin's axe, as I mentioned before. They were, however, defeated eventually and slain by the orcs about 6 years later. This in the centre, as you probably should all know, is the tomb of Balin, who was shot and killed by an orc archer outside the east gate of Moria while he was looking in the lake there. Ori, another of the company, met his end in this chamber after recording their final moments, writing drums, drums in the deep, we cannot get out. This chamber was originally used for records before it became a tomb, and Muzzable means records in Kuzdal, the Dwarven language, which unfortunately we don't have much of. There are only about, I believe, 30 or so words actually recorded for Kuzdal, which is kind of a shame, because it would be nice to know more about the dwarves.
User joined your channel.
Orcs and goblins are the exact same thing. It's a misconception from the movies that they are any different.
I also have a question for Nad. In the movies, when they first enter Moria, Gimli realizes it's the tomb. Is that the same in the book as well, or is it when they find Durin's actual tomb, they find out it's abandoned and everyone's dead?
User in your channel timed out.
Gimli realizes something has gone wrong quite quickly, but I think it's finally confirmed for him when he finds Balin's tomb. And I think in the book, the way he reacts to it is slightly a bit more stoic than, because in the movie he kind of goes down and yells no in a very dramatic way, but just in the books he turns away, casts his hood over his face, which is a bit more appropriate for the dwarves in their kind of way of acting. So yeah, this is the stairs that lead down to the second hall. You will remember this, pretty famous in the movies, the whole don't touch the beard sort of thing.
Wait, are you there? I think
Scenes
everyone
in
is still in
Balrog.
the Chamber of Muzzable.
Oh, well, people should be coming down.
I'm standing on
Wait
top
for
of Hornet's
me.
head, so people should be able to follow.
Please TP.
Oh, don't. I like
People
walking.
can
Still
call
not
me
that
if they
tall,
like.
is he?
Aww. I'm short like a hobbit. I'm sorry.
He's smaller.
I'm not short, I'm a hobbit. Somebody put that on a t-shirt.
Oh my god, that would be the best t-shirt. I want to get it for free.
We love you, Fee.
Love you, Fee.
User disconnected from your channel.
I'll be right back in 1 minute. You're all on your own.
Guys, we can't do it. Guys, go.
Enjoy.
Guys,
Just
if
keep
people
following
get
the
lagged
path.
behind, please call me.
This is loading in very, very slowly.
Thank you for using Sugar Koala's teleport service. Please try again later when the lines are not as busy. If you have a problem, please speak to Lizzie directly because she will take any criticism whatsoever. I'm joking.
Oh, yeah.
No. I'll take the criticism for you.
User entered your
I think
channel.
actually a little note, just the hall we're in now, I think this was actually slightly redone, or maybe there's a few that have been redone. You might have seen a cobblestone walls. I don't know who's drinking, but it's really pissing me off. You might see a few cobblestone walls here and there and things like that. I think a few little halls were redone at some point, but not many.
Why can't I fly?
Because you can't fly.
You can just create a flag.
Oh, I can't. Oh wait, now I can. Oops.
What fun, it's so down.
Everyone's around, it's fine. We're all
Okay.
here.
Order your orc gun today.
User joined your channel.
Hello, Triforce.
Yeah, guys, I am looking at chat, by the way, so if you want to post questions in chat.
Well, that's how are baby orcs made.
What a question.
Well.
When the mummy orc and the daddy orc love each other very much.
Well, Kai's has pretty much got it. The movies had this horrible misconception where they were kind of born in these vats and stuff. The orcs, the best theory we have for the orcs is they are corrupted elves, and therefore they reproduce in a similar manner, though they obviously weren't immortal. Alright, so welcome to the second hall. This is the largest hall in Moria. In fact, so large that it's incredibly difficult to render the whole thing.
Yep.
And this was one. If you can
User
imagine,
joined your channel.
back in the day, anyway, it'd be cool to do Moria when it was inhabited, because this was once a gigantic city, lit by massive hanging lamps hanging from the ceiling.
Alright, ladies.
Bridge of Khazad
Let's just all get this over with. On the count of 3, you can all say you
User
shall
in your
not
channel
pass.
timed out.
That's not the line though.
1.
The line is, I am a servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Amnor. The dark fire will not avail you, flame of
No,
Odin. Go back
that's
to the
from the
shadows.
movies.
George,
Oh
shut
my
up,
God.
George.
You
Shut
cannot
up,
pass.
George, that's from the
We're
movies.
not trying to impress
Please
Jesse
don't.
here.
Your fan club's not here yet.
A lot of
This is going
candles
out
here.
just a
Things
cut
just-
video.
Things just got personal real fast.
I know George personally.
User
so I can
joined
be
your
as personal
channel.
as I like.
Oh, I guess, actually, no, what I could do here, this is the bit of law I'm going to include. Some people might be confused. This is some really deep law, so be ready. When Gandalf says, I am a servant of the flame of Arnor, people often say, well, he's a servant of the flame of Arnor, and it was a mistype or whatever. Arnor, I believe, means sun, and Gandalf saying that he's a servant of the sun. Means that he is effectively, well, it's kind of a reference to the fact that he was an emissary from the Valar. He's a servant of the Valar, and the fact that also he wielded the Ring of Fire. He also says, I'm a servant of the Secret Fire, and the Secret Fire was the flame of life that existed within all beings, or existed within all beings that the Valar had created, so the elves and dwarves and men. And that's kind of what gave life to everything. And so in saying that he was a servant of the Secret Fire, he's a servant of the Valar of Valinor, and therefore was diametrically opposed to the Balrog and what it represented, which was Morgoth and his servants. So yeah, and then he fell and had a massive fight.
And Udun means hell, so yeah.
Yes, Udun means hell. Or, yeah, it's basically that.
There's a place in Mordor called Odin as well.
Which basically means hell.
I miss Hall of the yet.
And something I forgot to mention, the bridge of Khazad was as thin as this. It might look kind of impractical, but it looked like this, or was like this. as a very, very good defense, actually. If anyone tried to attack Moria from the east side, they would, even if they got through the gates, which, as you're about to find out, would have been very difficult in and of itself. If they tried to get across this, it's very difficult to attack across a bridge that pretty much can only fit one man at a time. So they will sort of just knock them off.
Holy cow! Lizzie, what the hell happened?
What do you mean?
I went to the Moria East Gate and it's gone.
Oh, what,
Finrod's
the old
busy.
or the new map?
New map,
No.
Finrod's busy.
Oh yeah, Finrod is currently retraining that, so we are doing the Mirror on this map today. Finrod chooses the best days to start training some mountains in the Mirror.
You're very lucky.
All Balrogs,
Finrod, you went.
chat. All Balrogs do have whips as far as we're aware. Fiery whips have been expelled for all of them, they did have different weapons. Gothmog, who is the leader of the Balrogs, had a black axe, which he killed a lot of elves with in the first stage.
Yeah. Also, Finrod, you
What are
won.
Balrogs?
What are Balrogs? Balrogs are corrupted Maya that came under the service of Morgoth before the creation of the world. Like Sauron, except they were A, less powerful than Sauron, B, a bit less intelligent. And they were used in wars in the first age as a way of cutting sway through large numbers of Morgoth's enemies. This is the first hole, by the way. As I was saying before, Moria was dug from the east to the west, so this is the first hole they dug, and that's why the other one is called the second hole. We're almost out of Moria, so well done, everyone, for getting through. Well, the group seems to be a bit fewer than when we started. Many have been lost to Moria.
Yeah, Tolkien mentions both an army of Balrogs in his earlier works, and like 7 Balrogs in his later works. So, why did he change that?
Tolkien
User joined your channel.
And Tolkien changed his mind on many things over time. And so he started off with an army of Balrogs, and they were supposed to be less powerful. And then as he reduced the numbers of them, they became more and more powerful until they were the fiery beasts of shadow and darkness that we know today. Interestingly enough, when it comes to the Balrogs, the big misconception that people have from the movies is that they were these gigantic sort of 30-foot tall beasts. Though they actually, in the books, they weren't. In the books,
User disconnected from your channel.
The Balrogs were between 6 to 13 feet tall, so not especially big. Their power mainly came from the shadow that was exuded from them and the fact that they were beings made of fire. So yeah, and they didn't have wings. They did not have wings. They didn't have wings. That I can say that.
It's hinted they might have wings.
No, they didn't.
User disconnected from your channel.
There's no way they ever had wings.
Part of the law nerds go.
Laura, George, what is your evidence for wings? Go.
I can't remember, but I did read a bit.
Oh, he's. Oh,
I could find it.
Already out. He's
Born
already
had
out,
freaking
guys.
taken it, George.
There is a quote when the Balrogs came to save Morgoth from Ungoliant. It might suggest
it says winged their way, yes, but that's not literally.
Not flown.
Says you.
But how do you know this isn't literal? Go.
Well, we know it isn't literal because the Balrogs would have used their wings in many situations. I mean, one of the things is when a Balrog falls, right, from the bridge, why didn't it just use its wings to fly back up? That makes absolutely no sense.
Maybe he was having.
Well, you can be winged and flightless.
Winged?
Like a penguin.
Remember the penguins.
Maybe Balrogs are like chickens.
Yeah.
They have wings, but they can't actually fly. They may be like chickens, you know.
I never said there was evidence for Balrogs being able to
They do fly a little bit.
Yeah, they can just jump. Like ostriches also have wings and they can't really fly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
What'd you say, Jim?
Okay. I said in the end, the Balrog couldn't wing it.
You're the worst.
Right, so continuing on with our locations, I believe that Duff is going to tell us about the Mirror.
Should we go to the new one or
We're
the
going
old
to
one?
the old one, as the new one is currently in our progress.
By
Oh crap.
What?
Oh
GG
crap.
Finn.
So Duff, stop.
Yes, here we have.
User
mirror
disconnected
mirror.
from your channel. User left your channel.
Even though it's not
Whoa.
mirrored.
Okay, so when Durin the Deathless first awoke from his long
User
slumber,
joined your channel.
he awoke in Mount Gundabad, which is in the north of the Misty Mountains, and he traveled south until he found this lake, which is the Mirror Mirror. When he got here, he looked in the lake and he saw a crown of stars above his head reflected in the water. And kind of weird because it was the middle of the day, so he wouldn't have seen any stars reflected. And he took this as a sign, and so he decided that he would found a great dwarven city here at this place beneath the mountains that feed into the lake. And then later, the dwarves built this pillar here known as Durin's Stone.
User disconnected from your
which
channel.
was used to mark the spot where Durin the Deathless saw this crown of stars.
User disconnected from your channel.
After the Fellowship fled Moria, they passed by the lake here, and Gimli insisted on stopping to see it even though they were in great plight. And so Frodo accompanied him to come up to the Mirror Mirror and look at it, and both of them saw the same vision that Durin did of the crown of stars.
Something I forgot to mention earlier on. We just came through the East Gates, and we're now in the valley, which is where the Battle of Nandahirion took place, and it's relatively deforested because after the battle, the dwarves couldn't bury numerous dead in stone, as is tradition. Yeah, so they had to cut down all the trees in the valley, and the gates that we could pass through was ripped apart, I believe, during that battle, was finally destroyed. But that gate, when Moria was in the height of its
User
power,
left your channel.
They added, it was called the Great Gates, and they were originally inscribed with spells of prohibition and exclusion in crystal, and over time commands were added that said that all who were there without the permission of Lord Moria should leave. Those were written in Quenya, Sindarin, Western Rohirric, and the languages of Dale and Dunland. So pretty much anyone who came there would understand that they had to leave unless they had permission.
Darth. Was Durin's Stone like desecrated all by orcs or goblins? Is that what it's ruined in the old new map?
I don't know of any desecration, so I would assume that it's just due to age.
Yeah, I gotcha. Awesome.
There's not much said about it, as I know, so.
That bastard knows nothing of the dwarves. How dare he insult the stone of Durin? Ban him.
Alright, any other questions? Or shall we pass on to Jord for Lothlorien? Oh my god, I'm dreading this. What?
Lothlorien!
Lembas
all night.
Lembas spreads. Lembas spread.
Lamba.
That sums it up, Lembas spread. Right.
So at this point, you want to change your texture packs.
And then we're going to teleport over. So.
I'm too young to be teleported.
User disconnected from your channel. Joined your channel.
Hello, cola flasker.
Give me a second.
That's a very nice one, Sir.
Right.
What's going on?
Can I have
Great Lord to
a Kai's come over here, please, and then bring everyone to us?
We're trying to move to Lothlorien on the new map.
So guys, don't head towards the sand, that's the wrong way. You're going to change to the Lothlorien resource pack and you want to follow this way. So, please say you have the resource packs. If you don't,
wait.
What are you doing? I'm just gonna give you guys a minute as you'll change resource packs, because if you're like me, your Minecraft tries to crash.
Same. Because you're a noob, Blue.
Oh, why?
Ooh,
Earlier today, my Minecraft crashed, and the error message I got was error failed to send error message.
Oh,
wonderful.
Because you're a celebrity now,
Craft.
The irony.
Minecraft celebrity.
Yeah, Minecraft.
Right, so George, if you wanna stand still
Classic
for a
Okay, yeah, I have the old texture pack, I guess, so this is not looking
So
well
guys,
right now. I'm sorry
you
for
might
that.
want to call people and just head towards where George is. I'm riding on his head if that helps make him more noticeable.
Everybody.
All right, and your head was if.
Sounds kinky.
This will make me stand out. There we go.
Okay, people.
Kef, if you want to hop on, you can too.
Oh, baby.
We're all like that.
Okay, this is Lothlorien, the land of the Nandor. It was originally inhabited by the Nandor in the First Age. The Nandor were elves
I'm doing good, how are you?
began the journey to Valinor, but got to the Misty Mountains and decided to be a bit difficult from that point on, and decided just to stay instead. So they settled in what became known as Lorien, and they lived there for many years until the growing power of the dwarves became too great for them, and then they moved east across the Anduin, where they settled there for a while and just hung out. But eventually, after the War of Wrath, the Sindar came over from Doriath and moved into Lorien with the Nandor, and basically completely overwrit their culture, and the Lothlorien area became inhabited mostly by the Sindar, and the elves there began to speak Sindarin. The first king was Amdir, and who came over with the Sindar, and another elf.
User disconnected from your channel.
Maybe was his brother, not sure on that. Orofair became the first king of Mirkwood. He travelled a little further west and ended up in what was known as Greenwood the Great at the time. Eventually, Amdir perished in the War of the Last Alliance, I think. Yes, at Dagor Dagalad, his
User joined your channel.
division was separated from the majority of the army and were picked off in the Dead Marshes. So, yes, Orofair died as well. So, yeah, lots of the Dead Marshes is filled with a lot of Lothlorien people. After this, Amroth became king. You probably recognise the name Amroth from Kerin Amroth and Noel Amroth. And Amroth was a very successful king. The elves lived here quite well under Amroth. They moved back westward across the Anduin and settled what became known as. Sorry, that was after Amroth. Amroth eventually disappeared, basically. He fell in love with a elf known as Nimrodel, and Nimrodel decided that she didn't like it in Middle-earth anymore, and she really wanted to go to Valinor. So Amroth said, "Okay, I'll go with you," and they went off. But Nimrodel and Amroth became separated, and Nimrodel was lost, and Amroth just said, "Sod it, I don't know where she is, I'm going anyway," and left and disappeared into the sea. And that was when Dol Amroth became known as Dol Amroth, because it's on the sea, and Dol Amroth disappeared at sea, so they named it Dol Amroth in his memory. After that, the Lord and Lady of Lothlorien became Galadriel and Celeborn. And the Lothlorien elves moved further west across the Anduin and settled the larger area, and built the city of Caras Galadhon. We've actually just reached Kerin Amroth, which means Hill of Amroth, I believe, and it was named after Amroth because Amroth actually had a house here. This is also the place where Aragorn and Arwen were married, and the same place
User
where
joined your
Arwen
channel.
died and was buried.
Nice try, Kev. I know what you
Why are
said.
you sending me that?
Fellowship
Oh,
came
I
up
said
here on their
that.
way.
That's what you said.
Oh god. Carry on, guys.
Before Celeborn and Galadriel, Lothlorien didn't actually have Malorn in it at all. Malorn is not native to Middle-earth at all, and is in fact native to Tol Eressëa. A Malorn tree was passed on from the elves of Tol Eressëa to the Númenóreans, who passed it on to Galadriel, who was living in Lórien for a bit, but the Malorn trees wouldn't grow in Lórien, and she eventually planted them in Lothlorien, where they did grow. And they became particularly large due to the fact that Galadriel had Nenya, one of the 3 Elven Rings of Power. Nenya also kept out the evil from Lothlorien, acted as a sort of force field kind of thing, but not quite a force field. Malon means golden tree, Mal meaning gold, and Orn meaning tree, which is also where Celeborn gets his name from. His name translates to silver tree, Celeb meaning silver. But Malorn was particularly
User
famed,
joined your
liked, whatever
channel.
word you want to use, because it was so strong yet so light. So it could be used to make some pretty strong bows and some pretty strong boats. Contrary to popular belief, the Malorn leaves are not always gold. They are only gold in the winter, I believe, and the majority of the time they are sort of, I think, green on one side and silver on the other side.
User joined your channel.
Anyone have any questions so far?
Yes.
God, Ryan.
Yeah.
How are you taking your reception from the Jesse Cox video?
Pretty well, thank you, Ryan.
Have you seen positive comments as well as negative ones, and are you pleased with both of them? Do you sympathize with the negative and the positive comments? Because, I mean, look, you were the star of the show. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, George, you got many bitches from that.
They were mostly positive. The negative ones were a bit meaner than anticipated.
I gotta say, no,
Well,
but
yeah,
for
that's
the
the
most
internet.
part, people actually legitimately really liked you, which I gotta say, we're not at all surprised, but you know that's
Really?
awesome.
I'm disappointed in humanity personally, but...
Whoa.
I struggled though to pick out which ones were sarcastic and which
I'm
ones
gonna
were
go
real.
comment on those posts, be like, Lizzie's a hater, go hate on her, and then you'll get freaking swamped.
I'm gonna get killed anyway if we end up as the cutest couple.
Hello, guys.
User disconnected from your channel.
You'll get swamped by fangirls, Lizzie.
It'd be horrible.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Okay, we have now approached Karas.
User left your channel.
This is the capital city of Lothlorien and the home of
User disconnected from your channel.
Galadriel and Celeborn, and it is also where the biggest of the Malorn trees can be found. The Fellowship, or what remained of the Fellowship, passed through here after leaving Moria. If we go around the outside of the area, you will find Galadriel's mirror. This magic mirror is what Frodo looked
User
into
left your
and
channel.
saw the possible future if he didn't get himself together and get his ass to Mordor and chop the ring in. It is also the place, I believe, where Frodo first showed the ring to Galadriel. Those of you that don't know very much about Galadriel, she is one of the Calaquendi, meaning Elf of the Light. She is the niece of Fëanor, so she's really freaking old. And she's also incredibly powerful, which is what gave her the ability to do the awesome witchcraft that resulted in Galadriel's mirror. She is also the only person allowed to give out Lembas bread. Lizzie knows a lot about Lembas bread, but Lembas bread was originally
User in your channel timed
Doriath,
out.
and it was before Galadriel could give it out, the only person that could give it out was Melian, who was a Maya, but was also the wife to Fingal, the king of Doriath. And Melian and Galadriel became very close and lived together in Doriath. And after Melian sodded off, Galadriel became the only person to be able to give the gift of Lembasbread. And it was said that Lembasbread would, just one bite from a Lembasbread would fill a man, yet the hobbits were eating whole ones of them, because you know what the hobbits are like with their breakfast and second breakfast and levensies and whatever other meals they have.
Lol. Question?
Sure.
Was Galadriel born before the War of Wrath or shortly after?
Before she
A
was...
long time before.
I'm not sure if she was born in Valinor or if she was born in Middle-earth and moved to Valinor.
She crossed her character, so I suppose she was born in Valinor.
Yeah, she definitely lived at Valinor at one point.
She was exiled along with the rest of the Noldor after Kinslaying, even though she didn't actually participate in it. So she kind of laments that when the Fellowship leave, she sings a song as they leave. But she does. She is eventually allowed back to, well, not back to Valinor specifically, but back to Tolorese, which is an island off Valinor.
By the way, anyone who's
During
watching
the
my
War of the
stream
Ring, there
right
was
now?
also something that most people
User left
never
your
heard
channel.
of before, which was the Rovanian campaign,
If you have a
which
question,
was
just
an
ask.
attack in Rovanian by Mordor, particularly Dol Guldur, and it was the combined forces of Mirkwood and Lothlorien fighting back Mordor. And eventually the forces of Lothlorien and Mirkwood were successful. The Galadrim, the Lothlorien elves, built a load of boats and sailed across the Anduin, where they besieged Dol Guldur and tore the walls down and back into Greenwood Great, kind of. And the very south of Mirkwood was absorbed into Lothlorien and became known as East Lothlorien.
One thing, it was Galadriel and her magic that tore down the walls of Dol Guldur.
Yeah.
You forgot to mention that.
It was implied.
Done you?
After this, though, the Lothlorien's population actually began to decline. I believe it was just 2.5 years after the end of the War of the Ring. Galadriel moved west. She eventually moved over to Valinor, and Celeborn stayed in Loth by himself for a bit, I think, and then eventually moved over himself, and Lothlorien just declined. The people who were staying in East Lothlorien either moved over to Lindor, was it over Lindor or Rivendell they moved to, or were simply absorbed into Mirkwood. At the moment,
I was just going to say, by the time of Aragorn's death, when he was 210 years old, and I think 4th Age, 100 and something, Lothlorien was completely deserted.
User disconnected from your channel.
We are currently climbing the home of Celeborn and Galadriel. This is where they chilled, and I believe it's also the Fellowship also came up here to visit them. Running out of stuff that's mentioned about Lothlorien, to be honest. We've nearly covered everything.
The cool yellow blocks are jack-o'-lanterns, and this was also used as the after party for last year's award ceremony.
Let's see, 2014.
There is a brewery somewhere in here, in Lothlorien somewhere. I never remember exactly where it is. It's around.
Avery, what's a joke?
But unless there are more questions about Lothlorien, that pretty much.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
You said that Lothlorien was deserted after Aragorn died, right?
Before Aragorn died.
Oh, even before. Okay, so but did somebody try to harvest these woods? Like you said that it was better than usual. Did everybody leave it?
Well, the elves weren't really much of. They weren't really people that liked chopping down wood, and there weren't a lot of men that lived nearby, really.
I could add to that as well. When Aragorn and the three hunters encounter Eomer on the plains of Rohan, in the books anyway, they mentioned that they got their cloaks from Galadriel and Lothlorien, and he immediately kind of recoils and says that that's a terrible place. It's filled with evil magic, and there's a witch who lives there who enchants and so on. So I think men themselves would have been pretty terrified of the wood anyway, and wouldn't have gone in to harvest the trees.
Yeah, makes sense.
The forest probably would have declined anyway, because the strength of the trees came from Nenya, and I assume Galadriel took Nenya with her to Valinor.
Speculation.
Yeah. That's part of the law, Ryan. You've got to make inferences.
That makes sense.
George, you are the lawyer.
About the elven bad guys that someone just mentioned.
The elven bad guys?
Yeah, someone asked if there was any bad guys among the elves, evil guys. I think that's only... Yeah, but those were like in the first stage, and they were like turned into orcs.
I mean,
Well,
Feanor's sons, some of them were...
Yeah,
Sorry.
Feanor himself wasn't so bad. I mean...
A couple of Feanor's sons weren't exactly the nicest people. If you read the story of Beren and Luthien, there are a couple of not very nice elves.
Yeah, and what about the Noldor? I mean, the first kinslaying, first and second elves slaying other elves and stuff. It was, yeah.
Feanor was just a dick in general, to be honest.
Yeah.
Whoa, Mr. George, I'm gonna ask you to put down that language.
And
yeah, Feanor was not a nice. There was Maeglin, I suppose you could include, Dark Elf, Eorl as well. Weren't very nice.
But one thing that has been neglected in terms of knowledge of Lothlorien is a little bit of server lore. The original
User
cast
disconnected
was
from your
made
channel.
by SMTJ and Forks. Since then, it's kind of been redone here and there.
Did you say SMTJ by any chance?
G.
Okay,
I said
She
G.
did.
Just checking.
I said G. Shush.
She did.
I'm amazing. Shut up. Never met the person. It's fine. And then I believe that Credo ran a tree build in which most of these trees were redone because originally they were just quite horrendous default trees. This was around 2013, around summertime, July or August. Really? I believe that Stokey did an awful lot of these trees as well as different members of the community.
Stokey actually did something.
And then Bevson masterminded quite a bit of fixing of different things later that year. Wants to add anything in terms of server lore? Go ahead.
I indeed remember the actual forest being just roll-painted trees. So yeah, I just noticed actually that they.
User joined your channel.
I have to ask. This is related to server lore here. Was anyone in this channel here for any of the RP servers?
Yes. I was on the RP team.
Yeah. Oh, you were? Were you in the Fluffy Sheep
team?
Yeah,
I had to listen to Jason talking for 3 hours about the economics of Middle-earth. It was painful.
No, it's great because no, I remember being in Lothlorien setting up for this would have been one of the more recent RP servers that we did. Again, years ago, but it was in Lothlorien. Part of it was in Lothlorien, and of course because we had to go based on the players that signed up. There was we'd assign people like to each individual place, and because we only had a certain number of people, you'd end up getting like, okay, so 15 people go to the Shire, and like 3 people you're going to be the elves of Lothlorien. Now, not that I'm like the biggest role player by any means, but I don't know, 3 people role playing as elves in Lothlorien would only last so long for me. But I spent far too long setting up those stupid NPCs for what it was worth. But RP, you guys should look forward to it. We're gonna do it.
I remember 2.0. I remember Waikiki being the mayor of the Shire. It was a terrible time.
Oh my god, Waikiki?
Oh my god.
Oh shit, Waikiki.
Yeah, I'm sure it went shit a lot of it.
I am really sorry about the sound, guys. I really don't know what is going on and
I remember
how
Quinto raiding the Shire.
why it's being like this.
I banned him for it too because I was really mad.
I may remember this, but I don't know what year was this. Or
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, then that year wasn't it.
Nope, we're now
User disconnected from your channel.
It's still going. It's still going.
We gotta wait until the falls.
Just slightly went. So Fornad, I believe you're now doing the Argonath.
Yes, everyone needs to switch to the Rohan pack.
We're covering a lot of content today, people.
User disconnected from your channel.
Because the Argonath are a long way down the Anduin from Victoria.
Oh my god, Lori in their Rowan back looks so epic. We should have used this like the other time.
If anyone's wondering why we're covering so much ground, is because the last 8 is obviously going to cover quite a lot of Gondor and Rohan.
So, yeah, and I'm doing
there's
most of it, so you got to listen to my drainy, beautiful voice. Enjoy.
Be beautiful.
Oh god.
So, if everyone wants to head to the Argonath, I don't know if you guys have all been teleported yet.
We have been teleported.
Okay, so Fornad, would you like to explain?
Absolutely. So the Argonath, also known as the Pillars of the Kings or the Gates of the Kings, were 2 huge statues, as you can probably tell, that stood where the northern border of Gondor used to be. When the Faithful, or the Elendili, came to Middle-earth after the fall of Numenor, and Isildur and Anarion jointly ruled Gondor, they built many works across the realm, including some at this location. Now, the nature of these early works, and whether they were related to these 2 statues, is unknown. But we can assume that these 2 statues specifically weren't actually built by Isildur and Anarion themselves, which is maybe a bit better for
User left your channel.
Isildur and Anarion, because it's always a little bit egotistical when you build massive statues of yourself. But yeah, so centuries later, I mean, a few thousand years later as well, in the Third Age, 1248, the son and regent of Narnasil, the first Minilcar, led a great force that defeated the Easterlings between Ravani and the Sea of Ruin. And when he returned, he returned to the northern border of Gondor, he fortified the banks of the Anduin. This is the Anduin River, by the way. And he also built the Pillars of the Argonath in celebration of his victory and in reverence of the legendary founders of Gondor. Just as Roman rulers used to do, they used to erect massive sort of pillars in Rome, and also when Napoleon, his campaigns, they have the Arc de Triomphe as well. It's kind of similar to this, to that in some ways. So yeah, so they in the books, both of them had an axe in their left hand. You see, the left-hand one has an axe in his left hand. Though we decided to go with a more movie-based approach. The name Argonath is Sindarin, as are most names in Middle-earth, and it's composed of Ar, which means royal, plus Gond, which is stone, and the ending Ath is a collective plural, I think. A bit of server lore. Andalaf 2 primarily built these. The one
User joined your channel.
And the design was influenced by Stokie Ben. The one on the right is hollow and was made entirely
User left your channel.
by MCME community members, I think completely by hand.
Oh, also, I'd like to point out, inside the actual statue itself, if some of you remember from any of the one of the RPG Maker videos, it is mentioned that the inside was made as a skeleton, so people like Druids who can fly at the time could climb up and build from the outside, from the inside out, and that's how the statue was formed.
But it's no longer hollow.
I know, and it's all filled in.
Aww.
So. But yeah, there's a little bit behind the law as well.
User left your channel.
Alright.
And obviously the Fellowship.
Are you going to Amadini?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Yay.
So, Fornad, are you going to be leading the way, or
yes, we might as well just fly over Netithoa. Actually, we won't walk, we'll just go there. So yeah, the Anduin leads into this massive lake, which is called Nen.
User joined your channel.
We can sort of fly over that, and that leads all the way to the Falls of Raros, and the 2 hills on either side of it, which are called Amon Hen and Amon Law. In the middle of, or above the Falls of Varos, there's got a very steep island which is called Tolbrandia, and it's said that no man has ever summited it. So I think even on the server it was designed so that you can't actually jump up there. I don't know whether that's true, but yeah.
You can. I'm doing a summer event on Tuesday, which you have to first person to climb up.
How do we get boats?
You don't. I get boats.
Alright,
no,
if everyone wants to TP to me, I guess, or get Kais to TP everyone.
If you're still joined, if you're not
There
joined,
is a
I'm
boat
leaving you
race
behind.
happening on the Tuesday as well. So if you guys do want to ride in boats, that is a thing that you're going to be able to do for once.
Oh wow.
And hopefully we'll destroy them all and won't get yelled at for lag. So be sure to check that out also on the Tuesday. It's like a double whammy event.
Whoa.
Imigi, this can be stupid.
Alright, I don't think this is everyone.
Crap, I can
Kais,
actually do that.
Yeah, I'm TPing everyone across, and not everyone's joining. I did shout out several times during my tour, and nobody has.
Type in /tour space join /guy school. I mean space guy school.
Yeah, everyone needs to do it if you're going to be part of the Great Lore Tour, because we can't afford you all to be lagging behind.
Alright, so this down here is called Path Gallon. Path Gallon translates to green sword. Not sword as in like the weapon, but sword as in a short stretch of grass. This is a place where, obviously, since there are a massive waterfall over there, back in the day, boats couldn't really travel over the waterfall, so they had to come here. They were beached here, and then they were taken along a route which leads down the North Stair past the edge of the Falls of Varos. So yeah, it was here that the Fellowship came, and they stayed their night here, keeping everyone on the lookout because they were aware that there were orcs near. And in the morning, they had a meeting, and Aragorn left it up to Frodo to decide whether
User left your channel.
Travel on to Minas Tirith. Oh, that was weird. Travel on to Minas Tirith or travel east into Mordor. And Frodo asked for an hour to kind of make his decision and travelled up this hill. So we're now following his path.
For
Yep.
Why is your name yellow for me?
Donating.
Donated.
I donated, yeah.
Ah, alright.
So he came
What a
here.
guy.
Now this is something you might not notice otherwise, but this is a rock which Frodo came to sit on. And he looked out east and
User joined your channel.
I think Frodo, in his head at the moment, or just then, he knew that he had to go to Mordor, but he didn't want to make the decision because he was terrified, really. So he sat here, and then Boromir came up behind him and tried to convince him to go to Minas Tirith. Frodo said no. Boromir got mad. They kind of almost chased each other around this rock. Boromir jumped over the rock and came at him, and Frodo put on the ring and ran. So we'll had to run down to get up the hill.
Can I also say something as well? Two things. First off, with the chair. Apparently, when he was sitting in the chair, he could see the horses galloping in the fields of Rohan, and apparently he could see the armies massing in Mordor. That's how far he could see, because this was the seat of Sion. And across the river is Amon. Is it Amon Saul?
That's Amon Law. I was going to get on that when we got to the top.
Yeah. Do you want me to finish it? Yeah, if you can do it. Okay. Oh, do you want me to
Amon
do it?
Saul.
Yeah, Amon Saul is very far away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the Hill of
Ammons.
Seeing, or Amon Hen, and across the river. Though, if render distance allowed us to see it, you could see Amon Law, which is pretty much a mirror of this thing here.
User
Amon
joined your
Hen and Amon Law
channel.
were two watchposts that guarded the northern borders of Gondor, and the ruins that we see around us were once buildings that held the Gondorian garrison posted here, who both regulated the traffic on the river and looked further afield to the east to watch for Gondor's enemies. And obviously by the time of the Lord of the Rings, Gondor had diminished greatly in both power and size, and the watchposts were abandoned. So yeah, Frodo came here and sat upon the seats with the ring on, and I think you could without the ring see very far, but having the ring on meant that he could see even further and see all as far as Mirkwood and as far south as the mouths
Horses
of
galloping
Anduin.
in the fields of Rohan and the armies massing in the east.
Yep.
Yes.
Just
yes.
as I said.
He could actually see it.
Yeah, he could literally see it because he had the ring on. The ring, for some reason, in that place gave him power to see that far. And eventually, he could see Minas Tirith and the strength there. But then his eye was drawn to Barad-dûr, and just before Sauron could perceive him, he...
User disconnected from your channel.
Yeah.
Just down here, I suppose we might as well fly down to the Falls of Barros and have a look at them because they're pretty impressive.
Yeah. But Amon Law basically was the same, but it was useless seeing. Or listening, sorry, my bad. So you could hear far away. And that's one of the main watch posts. So it's effectively the same as seeing, but instead of seeing it was hearing. So.
Like seeing, but not. On the left side we can see the North Stair, which leads down, which was used, as I said before, to take boats and so on, take other goods down, because you really wouldn't want to be
User left your channel.
taking a boat off the side of this thing. There's not much to say about the Falls of Barros. I think they're the largest waterfall in Middle-earth, and you could hear them for many miles around.
A million, is that lore?
A million Numenorian miles long.
At least.
Oh, actually, something I forgot. The translation.
User joined your
Barros,
channel.
I think Tolkien translated it as
User
roaring
joined your
spray,
channel.
but then he also translated it as rush rain or raw rain. So yeah.
Also, the massive rock thing in the center that I can't quite remember the name
User
of.
left your channel.
Brando. I was talking about it before. I think with this we decided to go with the movie look because in the books it was set a little
User
bit back
disconnected from your channel.
the waterfall itself.
User left your channel.
And yes, when Boromir died, spoilers, his,
User joined your channel.
His body was put on a boat and set
User
off the
left
edge.
your channel.
Wait, Boromir died?
Yeah, I need to call spoilers.
What? I did not know that.
No.
User joined your channel.
Oh, spoiler.
But yeah, of course, we all know what happens. After Frodo makes his decision, he goes down, meets up with Sam, and yeah. Well, obviously the Fellowship had already gone looking for him, so they went and got the boats and travelled across and towards Mordor. And that brings to the end, of the first book, and it brings to the end of this tour. So, thank you very much.
Yay!
Woo!